Hello, today we are going to talk about factoring trinomials. So I'm on page 16 of your packet. Okay, so page 16 of the packet, we're going to factor today trinomials that are in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is equal to 1. Okay, so let's look at the examples here. You have the binomial x plus 4 times the binomial x plus 3. You FOIL, it gives you this, okay, which gives you this when you combine any like terms. Can you see what's going on between the numbers I highlighted here, or underlined, and the numbers that are underlined here? Okay, now check to see if that holds true for example 2. Does that hold true for example 3? And for example 4? Hopefully you came up with, we find two numbers that add to the middle term and multiply to the last term. So factoring is going reverse FOIL. So here would be two binomials. We would FOIL them together to get this, combine like terms to get this. Factoring, we're going to go in reverse. We're going to start with this and end up with what we would normally start with when we FOIL. So we can use FOIL to check our work, which makes it really nice. So when you look at this trinomial and you want to break it up, you have to think, okay, I need two numbers that will add to -6, but those same two numbers also need to multiply to +5. So you can think of all 5's easy because it doesn't have that many factors. It has 5 and 1. So now you have to think of combinations that will multiply to give you +5. Well, 5 and 1, and -1 and -5. Which of those add to -6? -1 and -5. So it says use this pattern and factor each of the following trinomials. If you need to, list all the factors of the number. Okay? So I'm looking at number 1, x squared plus 6x plus 5. So I know it's going to factor into a binomial times a binomial. I know that the first term is going to be x, so I can set that up. Then numbers that multiply to give me 5. Well, that's easy. Okay? So now I got to think sign-wise, what's going to add to 6? Well, +5 times +1. Now, it does not matter if you put x plus 1 in the first parenthesis and x plus 5 in the second parenthesis. That makes no difference. Let's try this one. I want to multiply to 6. So I've got 6 and 1. I've got 2 and 3. Okay, I want to add to 5. Well, in order to get 5 out of this pair, I'd have to have different signs, which would either give me a -6 and a +1, which would give me a -5, and I need a +5. So I could do a +6 and a -1, which would give me a +5 here, but it gives me a -6 here, so that's not going to do it for me. So then I look at 2 and 3. Well, +2 times +3 is 6, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So those are my factors, x plus 2 and x plus 3. And again, it doesn't matter if you write the +2 first, then the +3, or the +3, then the +2. Okay, so here, they just switched up the variable to a c instead of an x. So for 48, I've got 6 times 8. I've got 2 times 24. I've got 4 times 12. And I'm going to say, oh, 4 times 12, that looks pretty good, because I know 4 plus 12 is going to get me 16. So I'm just going to do c. Now I want my negatives to be bigger, c minus 12, and c plus 4, because -12 times a +4, oops, not going to work, is it? That's going to give me a negative here. What can I do? Well, I can make them the same sign. So now -12 times -4 is a +48. And -12 plus -4 is a -16. Okay, that rule, that example, brings us down here for this quick review. When the last term is positive, the signs in both factors will match the middle term of the trinomial. So, I was positive here, so these should both be negative. I was positive here, so these should both be positive. So when you're positive in the back, your middle term, or the sign of your middle term, matches the sign in each. Okay, if you're negative in the back, okay, when the last term is negative, the factors will have opposite signs. So like number 4, I'm negative in the back, so I know I'm going to have one number that's positive, or one factor that's positive, and one factor that's negative. So I'm thinking 3 times 5. I know they have to be different signs. The 5 has to be bigger because when I combine them, I need more negatives to keep my sign negative. So this is going to be x minus 5, and this is going to be x plus 3. So let's check it. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Okay, you can go a step further if you want and actually FOIL it and make sure you get what you started with. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try number 8. So, factors of 16. Now, you don't need to list these. You could do these in your head. Okay, so I listed some factors, and I'm already seeing a potential good pair. So, I'm going to try that out. Let me move this out of the way. So, I'm going to try that out. X. Now, I'm positive, so my both signs here are going to be positive because the middle sign is positive. So, I'm going to try x plus 2 and x plus 8. 2 times 8 is 16. 2 plus 8 is 10. Okay. Now, number 11, look what they did here. They tried to trick you. They wrote it backwards. Okay, all it is really x squared minus 10x plus 24. Okay, so don't let them confuse you just because they wrote it backwards. So factors of 24. You have 1 and 24. You have 2 and 12. You have 3 and 8. And I'm looking so far. Well, we can keep. You don't need to list them all once you find one that looks good. So I'm thinking that this looks good because I know my signs have to give me a negative. But, if my signs are both negative, that's not going to work. So that doesn't look so good. This looks like it might be good. So 4 times 6 will be 24, but 4 plus 6 is positive 10. What if you make them both negative? Negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. And negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10. So that looks pretty good to me. So x minus 4 and x minus 6. So again, negative 6 times negative 4, or negative 4 times negative 6, is positive 24. And negative 4 plus negative 6 is negative 10. So once you try factors that look good, think about what signs they could be in, then think about, will they work? Plug them in and try them out. If they don't work, all right, erase it or cross it off and start over. We tried this pair. It looked like it was going to be good, but then I needed the same sign, so it didn't work out, and I went with negative 4 and negative 6. Don't be afraid to make your list. Don't be afraid to try different numbers. All right, guys. Let's see. Let's have you guys try 5, try 10, and try 12. So 5, 10, and 12, and we will see you in class.